episode 1 of the remake of Fist of the North Star. What did we think about it? I just watched this first episode yesterday as it came out. Took a few notes. Just want to talk about these. I'm gonna skip some details for this video, not to be too long. Some smaller details, of course. But there are some general things that are probably going to be the case for the rest of the anime that I also spot. But I guess it's going to take too much time to talk about these, so I'm probably going to make exclusive videos in which I'm going to talk about those independently, hopefully. So let's just talk about some, let's say, major things I want to address happening in this episode. Let's talk about when Kenshiro gets to Rin's village. He's thirsty, he wants water, and he gets captured in a net, and he's imprisoned for no reason. So this is already something that I want to say concerning this episode. The villagers in Rin's village, the dudes, seem to be quite like, I don't want to say evil people, but they look horrible, like they have rage. This is not the way they're ever depicted in the classic series. One very particular, very good thing, in my opinion, in the classic series, in Fist of the North Star, is the clear distinction between good and evil, which is something that is oftentimes not done in many animes. In many animes, it's like ambiguous. Is he really evil? Is he really good? And, well, maybe you'd prefer that, but like we get that all the time at this point. And Fist of the North Star does, as the classic that it is, maybe. So back then, I feel like they would dare do this, because it's something that you dare do when you think about it. Clear distinction between good and evil. Now, I'm gonna get back to this, but an important thing here is that Kenshiro gets imprisoned quite for no reason. So, like, those villagers don't seem very nice, but also it takes away. So that's the main problem of this episode. We lose virtually completely the whole absence of meaning and finding meaning theme in the first episode of this series, which is what we talked about in the first episode of my on this channel analysis of the whole Fist of the North Star series, the classic series, the 1 point series, right? We lose all of that theme. He doesn't steal water. He doesn't do anything wrong. So Kenshiro is really not much developed, unfortunately, in this first episode. Now, when Kenshiro is in jail, when he gives back voice to Rin, as we talked about it in the analysis of the first episode of the classic series, I prefer the way it was done in the classic series, because when he touches Rin's pressure point, or whatever he does, right? So there's like that lightning and that sharp sound. These are from, let's say, tradition, the idea that we get of how you get revelation from God or something. Now, in this episode, it was much more like, he just did something. We didn't get that much. That's a bit of a pity. So we have less of the getting revelation, as in Rin will get back voice, and there is this voice in her heart, which is what Kenshiro says, right? And she goes, this is the man I have to trust. He's going to be the savior. So Rin symbolizes that infinite innocence and hope, idealism. This is what she symbolizes. But we had less of a good, clear, strong representation of that in this episode, unfortunately. Then when 𝚿𝚎 gang comes and they capture Rin, they threaten the village. So 𝚿𝚎 says that he's going to break Rin's neck. And so the villagers go, don't worry, we don't care about what he's saying, we're still going to fight. Well, they're really not very nice now, are they? They don't do this in the classic series, so that's quite a problem. It's like, you don't have that in the classic series. And in Fist of the North Star, you don't want to make villagers come across bad people. They're poor innocents who try to survive. So they may make mistakes. We talked about this in the classic series. But they're not bastards, sorry to say. They would go, oh, what should we do? Well, we have to fight, though. I don't know, you're going to see in their tone, in the tone of their voice, in the way they behave, that they're in a dire situation, but you don't have much of that. They seem very egotistical and selfish. They seem almost evil. You have more of that ambiguity, as we said. In my opinion, that's quite a pity. But I'm going to say something very positive about this episode. Something that is very good, I think, that we didn't get this way in the classic series. So it's the voice in Lin's heart that is going to make her speak, right? And so when Kenshiro comes out and is going to beat 𝙿𝚎, Lin tries to speak, and then the first word that she says is Ken. And Kenshiro kind of stops and goes, oh, that was the voice in her heart. It was represented to make you get it that way. That was the voice in her heart. Now, that's very cool, because as Lin symbolizes hope, idealism, right? The revelation that she got, even though in this episode it was not very well represented as opposed to the classic series, it's still something that happens. And all of that hope is basically Kenshiro. So Kenshiro says the voice in her heart is going to make her speak. The voice in her heart was Ken, because that's the voice that from her heart came to her mouth, let's say, and she could say Ken. And Kenshiro goes, so that is the voice in the heart of this girl that embodies, that represents innocence and hope. It's Ken. It's him. So he is people's hope. So he gains meaning. Now, the problem, though, we said, is that in general in this episode, we don't have the whole context of absence of meaning. And he has to find meaning. We don't have this. So it's just cool. If you judge this episode independently to the classic series, it's cool. It's just a cool thing. But when you compare it to the classic series, you're like, we miss the whole context, basically. So when you watch this as a remake, it's fine. Now, we have many other flaws. We lose many things. And I'm going to say a final thing, which is a pretty negative thing too. But that's a pretty cool thing that I wanted to mention. The last thing is, let's talk about something that is more like just simply going on in the episode when Kenshiro fights against 𝙿𝚎 and his men. Well, basically he's doing kung fu. We didn't see much of the Hokuto Shinken. He breaks necks. So he's basically doing what 𝙿𝚎 was going to do to Lin. Like, we didn't see the dudes blowing up much. I mean, it's the name of the anime. And it's very important too, because I think we're going to say this later in the classical series. The Hokuto Shinken is the art of the chaotic martial art. Chaos against the chaotic dudes, right? Fighting evil against evil. This is something we said already, right? So it's making you blow up as this world fell into chaos because of an explosion. And it made many things disappear. Many human beings, water, innocence. It made these things disappear. And Kenshiro is making the people who benefit from this situation and who go on making these things disappear. So symbolically, the Hokuto Shinken is very important. Blowing up, there is a meaning to this. Now, in this first episode, which is obviously supposed to be an exposition episode, We expose. It's the first episode. We discover these things. We didn't have much of that. Anyway, it's been 10 minutes already. It's long enough. There are many things to say, but hopefully we'll gradually talk about many things, and so we're going to have good videos. Can't conclude.